What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be seeing how smart of a wide receiver you are. We're going to be taking you through a quiz-style format video. So what this quiz-style format will be, if you're not familiar, is we're going to show 3 different pre-snap looks, and we're going to ask you a series of questions based on the wide receiver position and how you would attack that coverage. Going to give you a chance to answer. We're going to pause the video, and hopefully this will help you guys improve that football IQ. So I hope this video helps out. Also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to know physically what you can do to improve your route running, your speed, your explosiveness, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. You'll get access to 2 months of daily wide receiver gym and field workouts with sets and reps all included. So check out that very first link below if interested. Let's get started. So first example here. So how we're going to work this is I'm going to ask you guys a question about this specific pre-snap look based on a route. Then I'm going to give you time to answer it, and then I'll play the clip full speed, and we'll break it down and see if you guys are right or wrong. So we got this look here, pre-snap, outside shade, looks like zone coverage. How would you guys run a 10 to 12 yard out versus this specific coverage? Okay, so you guys can go ahead and pause the video, think about your answer, and then we'll play it in a second. So you go ahead and pause the video. All right, so let's break it down. So if we have outside shade zone coverage, right? Why is he playing outside shade? That's the first thing you need to ask yourself when you come up pre-snap. And he is outside shade because he's trying to prevent the outside route. So he's trying to prevent the 10-yard out, the corner, the comeback, the fade. He wants to force everything to the inside because it's zone coverage and he has help to the inside. So it's probably like cover 3 we can anticipate. And not to mention that the wide receiver has his split cut down. So as a DB, he's probably anticipating something outside breaking. So let's play at full speed. So if you said attack the inside shoulder and try to get the DB to flip his hips and slip under him, you would be 100% correct. Now, why wouldn't you want to attack the blind spot of the DB? So that's probably the mistake that some of you made, is that, oh, well, you want to get to his blind spot when it's zone and then break it off. But the issue with that is as soon as that DB feels you go to his blind spot, what is he probably going to do? He's going to keep his leverage, right? His sole purpose being outside shade is to protect the outside. So as soon as he feels you go to that blind spot, he's going to widen, or they call like a weave. So he's going to cut down the space for you on the field. It's because when you're running an out route, a corner, a comeback, a QB is leading you. He is throwing you open. He needs space to be able to do that. So we have to maintain that space. So I can't just run there because the DB will be all over it. He'll keep his leverage and will squeeze me to the sideline, giving the QB no choice but to move on from that route. So we have to give him space. So that's why you want to attack the inside shoulder. So the goal is to get him to obviously to flip his hips. Now, some of you may be hesitant on this specific technique because when we go at that inside shoulder of the DB, what if he sits? What if we don't get him to flip his hips? Then we're kind of screwed, right? So you have to have that mindset of, I'm going to make him move. I'm going to run with a good pad level. I'm going to run in full stride. I'm going to run in full speed so I can press all the way up to that break point and then be able to snap it off. This is as textbook as it gets. There is no indicators with his routes. So many times wide receivers, what they'll do is they'll try to do a technique like this, but right before the break point, they don't drop their hips to slow down. They don't snap down, if you will. They'll raise their chest up. They'll slow down. They'll take choppy steps. And that's what makes that DB sit. That's what doesn't get him to move. But there comes a point in every single route where that DB has to commit to the fade. It's just whether or not we're going to make him commit. So you got to eliminate those bad habits. We got to eliminate those indicators. You should be able to take a photo of you at 5 yards and a photo of you at 12 yards. And you should look the exact same because that's what gets that DB to think fade. And that's what can get a separation. And make sure, well, as we are violent at this break point, we are dropping down, bringing chin to knee, being violent with my hips so I can make a sharp cut and I don't end up drifting into this DB when I try to slip under him. Okay, so that's how you would run that 10 to 12 yard out. If you said attack inside shoulder on this and not go to the outside and attack his leverage, you would be 100% correct. Let's play this full speed. Great job by this receiver here attacking inside shoulder, snapping it off, and then winning on this route. So now, next example here. We got inside shade, looks like off-man coverage, could be a form of zone. And how would you guys run a fade route versus this specific coverage? So a fade route, so just like a vertical route. How would you run that against inside shade, off-man, or zone? So you guys go ahead, I'm going to pause the video, think about what you want to do. Okay, so now, after you pause the video, whatever answer you decided, if you said to attack his leverage you would be 100% correct. Now, I'm hoping that this is for the guys who are familiar with this page, who are watching the content, we appreciate everybody watching the videos and keeping up with it, that this one was a no-brainer, right? So anytime that you have an outside route, like a fade, an out route, a corner, and it's inside shade, you want to attack his leverage. So if you said attack his leverage and stem him to the inside, that would be 100% correct. Now, I could see maybe some people thinking that, oh, well, if he's inside shade and I got to run a fade, I should just go. But the whole reason this DB's inside shade is what? To protect the inside. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver attacks him. He squares him up inside, gives a move, and then he gives the QB space to throw him open. Granted, that wasn't the greatest throw in the world, and this probably should have been a touchdown, but that's still the right idea. We created space for the QB. So like I said, inside shade to prevent the post, to prevent the dig, the slant, everything. He wants you to just run outside. That's why you wouldn't do that. A lot of receivers will see this look and they're just like, oh, perfect. He's inside shade. I can just go run around him. He will put his hands right into your hip pocket and squeeze you to that sideline to where you have maybe less than a yard of space from being out of bounds. And that is very, very tough on your QB. So you have to give him space. So you got to stem him inside. You have to attack his leverage. Let's threaten him where he doesn't want me to go. That's the best way to get him to move. You either got to threaten a DB vertically or you threaten him where he doesn't want you to go, which is to the inside in this specific case. So you see how he stems him inside. He closes the distance. DB's keeping his leverage inside. He's widening because he's trying to prevent the post. And so he gives that little head fake. They call it a vertical set. So a vertical set is something that pretty much essentially how it sounds, sets you back up vertical. It sets you up for the fade, but it's pretty much a hard cut inside. It's almost like a rocker step where you do that 1-2, but it's a hard cut inside. Hips and shoulders commit to the inside like you're running a post, and that can get that DB to sit, opening up more space for you. You see how he started at the bottom of the numbers, and look where he ended up making this move, at the top of the numbers. That is a good stem. That is not overdoing it with the stem either, and that's a great way to threaten that DB's leverage. So make sure, fellas, we know how to attack his leverage, and we know when to attack his leverage, and I hope that's what you guys answered. That should be a no-brainer for the guys who are super familiar with this stuff, but again, still good to review, and it's still good to go over this, because you got to understand, fellas, these NFL guys, like, they're not thinking about this while they're playing. They're thinking about it while they're training. You know, they come up to the line, they have a plan, but they're not thinking about the technique. Like, it's like almost like an instinct for these guys. Just like when anybody gets good at anything, it's an instinct. Like writing your name down on a test, that's an instinct. You don't got to think about writing out the letters. That's what these guys do. They've done it so many times. They've seen it a million times in their head, so repetition is always great for us. Let's play it again, full speed. Great job attacking that leverage, giving a fake inside, and then setting yourself up with space back on the fade. Okay, so now this last one here is going to kind of be a coverage question. So this is something we normally don't go over a whole lot in terms of how to read coverages on this channel. So we're going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to play the clip full speed, and I want you guys to tell me what the coverage is, okay? So I'm going to give you a second here to look at this pre-snap look as well. Waddle is the outside receiver, and you see where the linemen are. So he's in a reduced split, so this is the corner. So let's think about it. Let's play it full speed. So corner's outside shade. Lets him go. He runs this corner post. So think about also what a corner post route would be good against coverage-wise. So I'm going to play it one more time. Now you guys can think about what coverage is this. So go ahead, think about it. What coverage would this be? All right. So if you guys said that it would be cover 2, you would be correct. So cover 2, these are like pretty much all the key indicators that it's a cover 2 situation. DB has his eyes to the inside, and he's outside shade. So when a DB is outside shade, like first of all, what is cover 2? Cover 2 is when the corner is responsible for the flats, and there's two high safeties, and they're responsible for the deep halves of the field. So usually the middle of the field is open, and that area between the corner and the safety is open. So this can be confusing sometimes because with a reduced split, a lot of times you'll see man coverage from a DB. Like he'll be outside leverage man coverage because he's expecting the outside route, like in the very first example that we saw. Even though that was zone, usually sometimes when it's pressed, they'll even go outside shade if they have help, like if it's cover 1. So when it's cover 2, he's in charge of the flats. So his goal is to get hands on you and reroute you inside so that this safety has an easier time making a play on you. Now, in that safety has an easier time making a play. He has an easier time making a play on you when he's pretty much head up. If he lets you go outside of him, you could stay far away from the safety and fall right into that like hole shot zone. So that's his responsibility. His responsibility is to funnel you inside, get hands, have his eyes on the number 2 receiver, the tight end, in case somebody comes to the flats. I believe on this play they have a tight end come to the flats. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be his responsibility. He's going to let you go, and now you are essentially in one-on-one coverage with the safety. So how you can read this, obviously this is why I let the play happen full speed, because so you guys could see that there's a safety over the top right here. But again, this play concept is cover 2, and you could tell this pre-snap based on, okay, eyes inside, outside leverage. That doesn't always guarantee that it's cover 2, but I look upfield and I see that there's 2 high safeties who are about 10 to 12 yards off. Okay, that's cover 2. I know where the openings are. If I have a route that's going to the middle of the field or if I have a route that's going to the sideline, I need to know that that's the zone in the coverage that I'm going to sit at. This is not something that we cover a lot at on this channel, fellas, so I hope that can give you guys some value. Let's play at full speed. Again, key cover 2 indicators. Outside shade, eyes in the backfield, 2 high safeties, about 10 to 12 off. Know that the openings in that coverage are the middle of the field. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comments section. We hope you guys like this video. If you have any other, video feedback that you'd like for us, we take all options. We read all the comments, so don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section. Also, fellas, if you would like a full 2-month wide receiver gym and on-field workout schedule, everything that wide receivers need to do on a day-to-day basis with sets and reps to improve their skills, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.